Don't take this the wrong way. The 49ers still have an excellent roster. I predict they'll win 12 games in 2020. But they got worse this offseason. Let's be honest. Perhaps they couldn't avoid getting worse. They didn't leave themselves enough salary cap space to keep Eric Armstead, DeForest Buckner, and Emmanuel Sanders. Two had to go, so goodbye Buckner and Sanders. It's tough to improve a roster when you're also getting rid of two of your best players. Maybe the 49ers set themselves up for the future. But here are 5 ways that they certainly weaken themselves for 2020. 1, they traded Matt Breda. Traded him for a 5th-round pick, which they used on an offensive lineman named Colton McKivitz, who may turn out to be a starting guard in a few years, but he probably won't contribute much as a rookie, as opposed to Breda, who most likely will have a big role on the Dolphins in 2019. Breda's a good running back, and he was important for the 49ers the past few years. He was their safety net. Every time the plan A failed at running back, he stepped in and saved the 49ers. In 2017, Joe Williams was supposed to be Carlos Hyde's change of pace back. Williams was a bust. Breda stepped up as an undrafted free agent and was terrific. 2018, the Niners got rid of Carlos Hyde, signed Jerick McKinnon. He was supposed to be their big-time featured running back. Tore his ACL in the preseason. Breda stepped up, started 13 games and averaged 5.3 yards per carry. Underappreciated. Better than their starter that they had in 2019, Tevin Coleman. And yet the 49ers traded Breda and not Coleman, which means Coleman will have more playing time and more carries in 2020 than he had in 2019. That's bad news for the 49ers offense. It also means that there's a lot of pressure on Raheem Mostert, the backup running back and the best running back on the team. If he gets hurt, misses any time, the 49ers offense will have issues. It's a run-first offense, and he's the only excellent running back they have remaining on the team. A lot of pressure on Raheem Mostert to perform and stay healthy and be durable in ways that he's never been. Trading Breda was a undercover big move that'll have big ramifications if there are injuries. 2, 49ers are replacing 2 starters on the offensive line. One is right guard Mike Person. Wasn't a good player. They replaced it. They released him this offseason. But they don't really have a replacement. It's going to be either his backup, Daniel Brunskill, or veteran Tom Compton, whom the Niners signed this offseason, basically a career backup who started a few games in his career. Not necessarily an upgrade over Mike Person, maybe a lateral move. We'll see. At left tackle, Joe Staley retired, and the 49ers traded for Trent Williams, who's younger and better. No question, upgrade. But Trent Williams hasn't played football in a year and a half. He might be rusty, and he's never played with the 49ers next to Laken Tomlinson and his new teammates. Offensive linemen, they don't play on their own. They're a unit, and they need time to practice and build chemistry and continuity. Well, the Niners won't have that this offseason. No OTAs, no mini camp. Training camp could be 3 weeks, and then boom, go play a game. So the Niners are replacing 40% of their starting offensive line. It's going to take them time and reps to gel, and they're not going to have that much of those time and reps before the season starts. So when the playoffs come around, and if the Niners make the playoffs, as they should, the O-line could be excellent. But early in the season, it could struggle. It could really struggle. Number 3, the Niners replaced Emmanuel Sanders with a rookie. Rookie's name is Brandon Ayuk, and he's extremely talented. Might be more talented than Sanders, who's getting older. But before Ayuk can show any of his talent, he has to memorize Kyle Shanahan's dense, complex offensive playbook. Probably the densest playbook in the league, and it's difficult for any wide receiver to pick it up quickly, learn it, memorize it, let alone a rookie wide receiver. And just talking to Dante Pettis the last couple of years, he always said, you can memorize all those words, and there's sometimes as many as 25 words in just one play. You can memorize all that in the classroom. But it's another thing to go on the field and hear the quarterback say it in the huddle. Hard to hear him. And there's more pressure. Play clock's running down. You hear the play. You hear the play in the huddle. You run out to your position. A lot of times you forget what route you're supposed to run. You don't even know. So you're lined up in the offense saying, I hope he doesn't throw it to me. I'm just going to run something. So what if Jimmy Garoppolo throws to where the rookie was supposed to be and wasn't? Guy ran the wrong route, intercepted. What are the odds Jimmy Garoppolo's going back to that wide receiver the next time? We already saw this play out with Dante Pettis. So it's going to be tough for Brandon Ayuk. I mean, the reason Emmanuel Sanders picked it up so quickly, the 49ers offense, when they traded for him, he came from Denver. The Broncos offensive coordinator last season was Rich Scangarello, who came from the 49ers. He was using the Niners offense and their terminology. So Sanders didn't have to memorize anything. He had a head start. Ayuk will not. He's coming from Arizona State, which is not using Kyle Shanahan's offense or his terminology. So nothing against Ayuk. He's just in the same position Deebo Samuel and Dante Pettis were in. They could struggle early on and then come into their own in November or December, or maybe not until year 2 of their careers. Happens with young wide receivers frequently. All right, number 4. Fourth way the Niners weakened themselves. Well, they replaced DeForest Buckner with a rookie. Same with Sanders. I mean, let's talk about the effect that'll have on the run defense first. Buckner was the leader of the defensive line, their hardest worker. He played defensive tackle. Even with him on the field, great player, the Niners gave up 4.5 yards per carry last season. That's 10th most in the league. They play this wide 9 defensive scheme, and it really invites offenses to run the ball up the middle because the defensive linemen are so spread out. So with an all-world defensive tackle on the field, DeForest Buckner, and they still gave up 4.5 yards per carry, what's their run defense going to look like this season without him? His replacement's a rookie, Javon Kinlaw, who is a bit of a pass rush specialist. Scouts question his run defense. If he can't hold his ground in the middle of the 49ers defensive line, they're going to have issues. You know, a mediocre run defense could get worse. And now let's talk about the impact Buckner's absence will have on the pass rush and in turn the pass coverage. Last season, the Niners had 48 sacks. Their pass rush was so dominant, most quarterbacks seemed terrified in the pocket. Like they just wanted to get rid of the ball as quickly as possible. So the secondary didn't have to cover very long. Well, without Buckner, who had 28.5 sacks in 4 years with the 49ers, now you got Kinlaw instead, who had 10 sacks in 3 seasons in college. No comparison. So maybe instead of 48 sacks next season, the 49ers have 40. And if the pass rush backslides a little bit, what's going to happen to the secondary? It seems next season quarterbacks might have more time to expose the weaknesses in the 49ers defensive backfield. So Buckner's absence will affect the entire defense, from the run defense to the pass rush to the pass coverage. That being said, the 49ers still have a very good defense, and it's younger than last season. So maybe the 49ers set themselves up for the future. Maybe they needed to take 1 step back before they could take 2 steps forward.